Imagine a world untouched by time, a world without sorrow, without struggle, where the morning sun rises over endless green fields and the air carries the pure scent of life itself. This was the beginning, a place where God's hands shaped the very essence of existence. And in this sacred moment, He created Adam, the first man, the first soul to walk the earth in His image. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be the very first human? No history, no stories from the past, no footsteps before you. Just you, the world, and the Creator's presence. Adam's story isn't just about being first, it's about being chosen, about the miracle of life, and the profound connection between humanity and the divine. Today, let's walk together through the untold story of Adam, a story that whispers not only of beginnings, but of purpose, love, and the profound beauty of being alive. Creation of Adam. The story begins in a time before time. The earth was void, and darkness hovered over the waters. Yet God's Spirit moved gently, preparing to breathe life into the first man. Unlike anything else in creation, Adam was special, not made from the sea or sky, but from the very dust of the earth. God's hands molded him with care, shaping every curve and every line, not just a body, but a vessel for spirit, thought, and love. And then it happened, a moment beyond words, a divine breath that turned dust into life. God breathed into Adam's nostrils, and suddenly, he was awake. His eyes opened to a world bursting with light, color, and sound. The first heartbeat echoed in the silent universe. Imagine that first gasp of breath, the wonder of opening your eyes for the very first time, feeling the air on your skin, the warmth of sunlight on your face, the soft soil beneath your fingers. This was Adam's first awakening, the miracle of existence itself. God looked upon him and said, "You are my creation, made in my image. You carry my love, my wisdom, my purpose." And Adam, in that moment, did not just see the world. He saw the reflection of God's majesty in everything around him. Adam's first moments. As Adam began to explore, he noticed the vibrant beauty of the earth, trees with branches that swayed in the wind, rivers that sparkled like liquid crystal, mountains that stood tall like silent guardians of time. Birds sang songs without words, flowers bloomed in colors unimaginable, and the air itself felt alive. Adam's heart swelled with awe. Every sound, every touch, every smell seemed to carry the heartbeat of God. But beyond the beauty of the world, Adam felt something else, a sense of purpose. God had not only created him to exist, but to care for the earth, to walk in harmony with creation, and to reflect the divine love in his actions. He named the animals, marveling at their forms and behaviors, realizing that every creature had a place and a role. Each step he took was a lesson, each moment a revelation. And yet, even in all this splendor, Adam's greatest gift was not what he could see, but the connection he felt with God. He could hear the voice of his Creator, not in words, but in the whisper of the wind, the rustle of leaves, the rhythm of his own heartbeat. Adam understood, even in those earliest moments, that life was a precious gift, fragile, sacred, and meant to be cherished. Lessons from Adam's creation. Adam's story teaches us something timeless, that life itself is a miracle, and that every human being carries a spark of the divine. We are made with intention, with love, and with purpose. Just as God shaped Adam from dust, He shapes each of us, not perfect in every way, but full of potential and meaning. Think about your own life for a moment. Every breath you take, every heartbeat, every sunrise you witness, it is a reflection of that first breath given to Adam. The same love, the same care flows through you, inviting you to live fully, to honor your existence, and to seek connection with the world, with others, and with God. Even in times of struggle, remember Adam's first moments, a world full of wonder, beauty, and infinite possibility. The story reminds us that life begins with awe and gratitude, and that our journey, like Adam's, is meant to be embraced with reverence and purpose. Closing thoughts/message. As we reflect on Adam's creation, we realize that his story is more than ancient history. It is a mirror for our lives today. Every time we take a deep breath, every time we pause to notice the world around us, we are walking in Adam's footsteps. Every moment is a chance to marvel at life, to honor the gift of being, and to live with intention. Adam's life began with a breath from God, a reminder that we too are sustained by something greater than ourselves. In our joys and in our struggles, we carry within us the same spark of divine love that awakened the first man. So let this story of beginnings inspire you. Treasure the miracle of your existence, embrace your purpose, and never forget that even in a vast universe, your life matters. The story of Adam is not just about the past. It is a guide, a whisper, a call to live with wonder, gratitude, and love. When Adam first entered Eden, he was greeted by a scene beyond imagination. Trees with fruits of every color imaginable stretched toward the sky, their branches heavy with abundance. Rivers of crystal-clear water wound gracefully through the garden, reflecting sunlight like scattered diamonds. Flowers carpeted the ground, their petals glistening with morning dew, and the air was filled with the gentle melodies of birdsong. Every step Adam took was a discovery. The animals moved freely, unafraid, living in harmony with one another. Lions lounged peacefully beside lambs, birds flew in synchronized patterns, and the gentle rustle of leaves whispered a language that Adam somehow understood. It was a world where every element, from the tallest tree to the smallest insect, existed in perfect balance, a symphony orchestrated by God's hand. Adam's heart swelled with awe. He realized that this world was not merely beautiful, it was alive, vibrant, and purposeful. Every leaf, every stone, every ripple of water spoke of the Creator's wisdom and love. In Eden, Adam experienced a profound peace, a sense of belonging, and an intimate connection to everything around him. Adam's purpose in Eden. God did not place Adam in Eden merely to admire its beauty. He had a purpose for him, a role that went beyond being its first inhabitant. Be fruitful and multiply, God commanded, but more importantly, he entrusted Adam with the stewardship of this paradise. Adam was to care for the garden, nurture it, and walk in harmony with all creation. Adam named the animals, observing their behaviors, understanding their natures, and discovering the joy of responsibility. In this act of naming, he experienced creativity, insight, and an early reflection of God's wisdom. Each name he gave was a recognition of life's intricate patterns, a small act of understanding the divine order. In Eden, Adam also discovered another layer of his existence, the capacity for joy. Every sunrise was a new beginning, every bird's song a celebration. He learned to appreciate simplicity, to marvel at life, and to find contentment in his connection with God. Eden was not just a garden. It was a classroom, a sanctuary, and a mirror reflecting the divine image in Adam himself. The companionship of Eve. God recognized that Adam's experience of Eden, though perfect, was incomplete without companionship. From Adam's rib, God created Eve, a partner, a friend, and a mirror of Adam's own soul. Together, they walked through the garden, exploring its wonders, naming its creatures, and sharing in the joy of creation. Eve's presence brought a new dimension to Eden. Love, trust, and shared purpose filled the air. Adam no longer experienced the world as a solitary being. He felt connection, intimacy, and the first taste of human relationship. In their togetherness, we see an essential truth, that life, even in paradise, is meant to be shared, celebrated, and nurtured with others. Their bond was a reflection of God's own desire for connection, a living example of harmony between beings. It was in this companionship that Adam learned empathy, care, and the profound beauty of mutual respect, lessons that remain relevant for humanity today. Lessons from Eden. The Garden of Eden teaches us timeless truths. The beauty of creation. Every detail in Eden, from rivers to flowers, reflects God's care. In our own lives, Taking time to notice the small wonders around us brings gratitude and perspective. Purpose and stewardship. Adam's role reminds us that we are not just passengers in life. We are caretakers of our world, our communities, and ourselves. Connection is essential. Just as Eve complemented Adam, human relationships are central to a fulfilled life. We are created for love, empathy, and companionship. Joy and simplicity. Eden was a simple paradise, yet full of wonder. Sometimes, contentment is not in acquiring more, but appreciating what we already have. These lessons from Eden are not just historical reflections. They are blueprints for living fully, with awareness, gratitude, and purpose. Reflection and spiritual takeaway. Imagine walking through Eden today, not literally, but in your mind and heart. Feel the gentle breeze, hear the birds, see the rivers glisten, and sense the presence of God in every detail. This is a reminder that the divine is present in our world, in moments of beauty, in acts of care, in relationships, and in the simple joys of life. Eden also reminds us of responsibility. Adam's stewardship teaches that our actions matter. Every choice we make affects the world around us, and even small acts of kindness, care, or reflection can mirror the divine order that God intended. Finally, Eden reflects potential, the potential for humanity to live in harmony, to honor creation, and to embrace the gifts of life. Though the story will later take a turn, these moments in the garden show what is possible when we walk in alignment with God's purpose. Closing thoughts. The Garden of Eden was more than a physical place. It was a state of being, a harmony between man, nature, and the divine. Adam and Eve walked, laughed, marveled, and learned. Their lives remind us to cherish creation, embrace our purpose, and nurture our relationships. Even though the story of humanity continues with challenges and choices, Eden remains a symbol of what life can be at its best, full of awe, love, and intentional living. Let us carry the lessons of Eden into our own lives, noticing beauty, practicing stewardship, seeking meaningful connection, and living with gratitude for every breath, every sunrise, and every moment we are given. One day, as Adam and Eve walked among the trees heavy with fruit, a new presence appeared, quiet, slithering, yet sharp and intelligent. The serpent moved with a confidence that seemed almost natural in a world of perfection. Its eyes held a glimmer of cunning, and its words would soon carry a test far beyond the garden's serene beauty. The serpent approached Eve while she admired a tree unlike any other, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. This tree was unlike the others. Its fruit shone with an irresistible glow, rich and vibrant, drawing attention even in a paradise filled with beauty. The serpent, with smooth, persuasive speech, asked, "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree?" Eve paused, startled, but answered truthfully, "We may eat fruit from the trees of the garden, but not from the tree in the middle of the garden. If we do, we will die." The serpent smiled, a smile without warmth, and whispered, "You will not surely die. God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like him, knowing good and evil." The power of curiosity. Eve felt a stirring inside her, a mixture of curiosity, desire, and wonder. She had never experienced deceit or doubt before. Every choice until now had been simple, joyful, and aligned with God's plan. But now, a seed of temptation had been planted. The fruit was beautiful, glowing in the sunlight, and the serpent's words echoed in her mind. "You will be like God, you will know more, see more, understand more." For the first time, Adam and Eve faced a challenge that was not imposed by force, but suggested by subtle persuasion. Eve reached out slowly, her hand trembling. She plucked a piece of fruit, feeling its texture, its warmth, its allure. The moment seemed frozen in time. Every heartbeat echoed loudly, a reminder that this choice was significant, that curiosity and desire can lead to both understanding and consequences. Adam and Eve's decision. Eve took a bite, savoring the taste, sweet, complex, and unlike anything she had imagined. She then offered it to Adam, who, seeing her choice and trusting her, also took a bite. In that instant, innocence was lost. The first act of disobedience entered the human story. The effect was immediate, subtle yet profound. A new awareness washed over them. Awareness of themselves, of their surroundings, and of something beyond the simplicity of paradise. They felt nakedness, vulnerability, and a strange, unfamiliar sense of shame. For the first time, they understood consequence. For the first time, the reality of choice weighed heavily on their hearts. Yet even in this moment, the story is not one of punishment, but of learning. The serpent introduced doubt, curiosity, and temptation, and Adam and Eve exercised free will. They made a choice. A reminder that human life is full of decisions that shape our path, our character, and our destiny. Lessons from the temptation. The story of the serpent offers timeless insights for us today. Curiosity is powerful, but must be guided. Human curiosity can lead to discovery, but without wisdom, it can also lead to error. Eve's choice reminds us to balance desire with discernment. Influence can be subtle. The serpent didn't force Eve, it whispered. This mirrors our own lives, where subtle persuasion can challenge our values and beliefs. Awareness is key. Free will is a gift and responsibility. Adam and Eve's decision shows that choice is a profound gift. Every action carries consequences, teaching us accountability and mindfulness. Growth through mistakes. While the act led to consequences, it also brought awareness. Mistakes, though painful, are opportunities to grow, learn, and understand deeper truths. Reflection and spiritual takeaway. When we face temptations in our lives, we may not encounter serpents or glowing fruit, but the principle remains. Choices shape destiny. Every decision, large or small, has the potential to teach, guide, or redirect us. Adam and Eve's experience encourages reflection. Are we mindful of the influences around us? Do we pause before acting, seeking understanding rather than immediate satisfaction? Do we trust God's wisdom even when the allure of independence or knowledge tempts us? In the end, the Garden of Eden, the serpent, and the act of eating the forbidden fruit remind us that life is a journey of choices, growth, and awakening. Temptation is not just an obstacle, it is an opportunity to understand our hearts, to learn about morality, and to strengthen our connection with God. Closing thoughts. The whispers of the serpent still echo in the world today through media, desires, and subtle influences in our daily lives. Adam and Eve's story invites us to pause, reflect, and choose wisely. It reminds us that the path to understanding, love, and purpose is intertwined with the choices we make. Even when we stumble, even when curiosity leads us astray, the story holds hope, the hope that growth, learning, and divine guidance are always available. The whisper of the serpent may tempt, but it also teaches. And through reflection and faith, we can navigate life with awareness, wisdom, and a heart aligned with God's plan. After eating the forbidden fruit, Adam and Eve felt a subtle but profound change. At first, it was an internal stirring, a flutter of unfamiliar feelings. Then, gradually, awareness settled in, awareness of themselves, their surroundings, and the reality of choice. They noticed their nakedness, a symbol of vulnerability and imperfection, and a sharp sense of shame took root. Where once they had walked with confidence and joy, now hesitation and fear filled their steps. They hid from each other, from God, and from the perfect world they had known. The simplicity and innocence of Eden had shifted. The garden remained beautiful, yet their perception had changed. This moment is crucial because it shows the human heart's capacity for self-reflection. Adam and Eve could see their actions, understand their implications, and feel the weight of disobedience. It was the birth of conscience, the ability to discern right from wrong, and the beginning of moral responsibility. God's response. God approached Adam and Eve, not with anger alone, but with a mixture of sorrow and wisdom. He asked, "Where are you?" A question that echoes through time, inviting reflection rather than simply demanding an answer. Adam admitted, "We were afraid because we were naked, so we hid. God's words carried truth and consequence. The perfect harmony of Eden would change. Pain, toil, and struggle would enter the human experience. But alongside these consequences, there was also mercy and guidance. God did not abandon Adam and Eve. He clothed them, gave them protection, and promised hope beyond the immediate consequences of their choices. This response illustrates a profound spiritual truth. Even when we falter, God's love and guidance remain. Consequences may follow, but divine care never disappears. The fall is not a story of final despair. It is a story of accountability, learning, and the enduring presence of God. The human experience of loss. Adam and Eve's loss of innocence mirrors the human experience in countless ways. Every day, we face moments where our choices carry consequences, decisions that can lead to growth or regret. The Garden of Eden represents the ideal, and the fall represents the reality of life. Through this lens, the fall teaches empathy and self-awareness. We see ourselves in Adam and Eve, vulnerable, curious, and sometimes tempted beyond our wisdom. Yet, we also see potential, the potential to learn, to take responsibility, and to seek forgiveness and guidance. The emotions they experienced, shame, fear, and confusion, are universal. We encounter them in our own lives, in relationships, in choices that challenge our morals, and in moments when our actions diverge from our intentions. Recognizing this connection helps us approach life with humility, understanding, and compassion. Lessons from the fall. The story of the fall offers timeless lessons. Choice comes with responsibility. Adam and Eve's decision reminds us that our choices matter. Each action carries consequences, and awareness is essential. Awareness and growth. Awareness of wrongdoing is painful, yet it is the beginning of personal and spiritual growth. Divine guidance is ever present. Even after disobedience, God provides care, protection, and hope, illustrating mercy alongside justice. Humanity is imperfect but capable. The fall does not signify the end. It signifies the start of the human journey, one filled with learning, reflection, and the potential for redemption. Through these lessons, the fall becomes more than a story of disobedience. It becomes a guide for navigating human life, relationships, and personal growth, showing that mistakes, though painful, carry the seeds of wisdom and transformation. Reflection and spiritual takeaway. When we consider the fall, it is tempting to focus on blame or shame. But a deeper reflection reveals its purpose. It teaches accountability, moral discernment, and the necessity of seeking God's guidance. Adam and Eve's experience mirrors our own, moments when curiosity, desire, or temptation challenge our judgment. The garden itself, though changed in their eyes, remained a place of potential and beauty. Likewise, even when life feels difficult or imperfect, we can find moments of wonder, joy, and growth. The fall reminds us that life is not about perfection, but about learning, connection, and striving to align with a higher purpose. Moreover, this story reassures us that God's love does not vanish when we stumble. Just as Adam and Eve received clothing, protection, and a promise of hope, we too are offered guidance, mercy, and the opportunity to rise after our own falls. Closing thoughts. The fall marks a defining chapter in the human story. Adam and Eve moved from innocence to awareness, from simplicity to moral understanding, from pure trust to the challenge of navigating choice and consequence. Their journey teaches us that mistakes are not endpoints, but doorways to wisdom, reflection, and growth. As we face our own temptations, errors, and moments of doubt, we can look to their story for guidance. The fall is a reminder that human life is a mixture of beauty and challenge, choice and consequence, joy and struggle. Ultimately, it teaches hope. Even in the face of lost innocence, divine presence, love, and guidance remain. We are not abandoned in our mistakes. Instead, we are invited to learn, grow, and continue the journey with courage, humility, and faith. When Adam and Eve stepped beyond the familiar boundaries of Eden, the world they had known shifted. The perfect harmony was gone. Labor became toil, survival became effort, and awareness of mortality pressed upon them like a weight they had never known. Yet even in these hardships, God's care was present. Though the paradise they had walked was now distant, His guidance and mercy remained. The act of clothing them, providing protection, and speaking words of hope illustrates a profound truth. Divine love is not conditional upon perfection. It is patient, enduring, and sustaining. This moment mirrors our own experiences. Life often presents consequences for our choices, but consequences are not the end. They are opportunities to grow, learn, and understand deeper truths about ourselves and our relationship with the divine. The promise of redemption. In the wake of disobedience, God offered not only mercy, but a promise, the promise of redemption. This promise resonates throughout Scripture, pointing to a future where humanity could be restored, forgiven, and reconciled to its Creator. Adam and Eve, though leaving Eden, were reminded that their journey was not without purpose. Every challenge they faced would teach resilience, humility, and wisdom. Every step outside the garden's walls was a lesson in patience, reliance on God, and the discovery of inner strength. The promise of redemption reminds us today that no mistake is too great, no fall too deep, to be beyond the reach of grace. God's love is steadfast, offering direction, forgiveness, and a path back to alignment with His divine will. Life beyond Eden. As Adam and Eve walked in the wider world, they experienced a mixture of hardship and discovery. The land required work, food was not as abundant, and survival demanded effort. Yet, in this reality, they learned essential truths about life, responsibility, and interdependence. Their experiences reflect the universal human journey, a mixture of challenge, growth, and discovery. Every effort, every struggle, and every moment of perseverance built character. They learned to care for one another, to adapt to circumstances, and to appreciate the divine presence in everyday life. Even outside Eden, moments of beauty persisted. The warmth of the sun, the cool of a river, the joy of companionship. Grace is often found not in perfection, but in the capacity to recognize and embrace goodness amidst difficulty. Lessons of grace. The story of Adam and Eve after the fall offers profound lessons for us today. Divine love is unconditional. Mistakes do not end God's care. Grace is a constant, offering hope and restoration. Growth comes through challenges. Life's hardships are opportunities to learn resilience, patience, and wisdom. Accountability and forgiveness coexist. While actions have consequences, forgiveness is always available to those who seek it. Purpose extends beyond Eden. Life may not always be perfect, but every experience carries lessons, potential, and divine guidance. These lessons remind us that the human journey is ongoing. We stumble, we learn, and through it all, God's love remains a guiding light. Reflection and spiritual takeaway. Grace after the fall encourages us to reflect on our own lives. How do we respond when faced with mistakes, challenges, or moments of doubt? Do we see them as failures, or as opportunities for growth and connection with God? Adam and Eve's journey demonstrates that divine guidance is always present, even when we cannot immediately see it. Life may be filled with toil, effort, and uncertainty, but every moment is imbued with the potential for love, learning, and restoration. We can embrace grace by recognizing our imperfections, seeking forgiveness, and trusting in God's plan. Each day becomes a chance to live with intention, to make choices that reflect care and compassion, and to honor the gift of life even when it is difficult. Hope and renewal. Despite the fall, humanity's story is ultimately one of hope. Adam and Eve's children, their descendants, and every generation since carry the possibility of redemption and purpose. Life beyond Eden is not a punishment. It is a stage for learning, growth, and deeper connection with God. The story of grace teaches that setbacks are not the end of the journey. They are the beginning of a new chapter, a chance to rebuild, reflect, and align with divine wisdom. Just as Adam and Eve were clothed, guided, and promised hope, we too are supported by God's love at every step. Grace invites us to see the world with renewed eyes, to find joy even amidst challenges, and to trust that our lives have meaning, purpose, and divine guidance. Closing thoughts. The journey of Adam and Eve, from creation to the fall, and finally to grace, is a timeless story. It reminds us that life is a mixture of beauty, temptation, mistakes, and learning. Yet, through it all, God's love remains unwavering. Grace after the fall is a message for every human heart. No matter how far we stray, no matter the choices we make, redemption and guidance are always within reach. Life's challenges are opportunities to grow, love, and connect with the divine. As we conclude this series, let us carry with us the lessons of Eden and beyond, to marvel at creation, to choose wisely, to embrace our responsibilities, to seek and offer forgiveness, and to walk with faith in the unending, unconditional love of God. Adam and Eve's story, though ancient, is alive today, a story that whispers hope, teaches wisdom, and reminds us that every step, every choice, and every moment of grace is a part of a journey meant to honor life, love, and the Creator.